Welcome back to another episode of Plotting. Very excited about this. This is the show where I try to guess what's happening in a movie, a TV show, something like that, just from the title. And then we're going to figure out what's actually happening, how close I got, how much better my guess was than what actually happened. All of these things.
Sometimes
100% of the time, I have been better than the Hollywood writers. That is,
I think we're keeping different stats.
You can check the tapes and check the tapes on that. Check out the other episodes. 100% success rate. So that's why you come to this show. That's why you check this out. I haven't seen any of this, so you're bringing it to me. I don't know what's coming.
I am.
Know what's coming. But we're gonna try and figure it out. We can dive into it. So hit me with it today. What do you got?
Today I have a new series from 2021. It's a Netflix original. It is ranked number 10 in the Netflix top 10 as of today.
Okay.
And it is called Bling Empire.
Bling Empire. Okay. So this could go two ways. This could be something hip-hop related. But I'm thinking, and then you said this is a series. I'm assuming it's a fictional series because Bling Empire could legitimately be a reality show about a jeweler. Like that's.
Oh yeah, that's true. It could be.
It's a pretty good name for that. But I'm gonna say it's a fictional version, a fictional story about a jeweler. I'm gonna guess that it's based on Jacob the jeweler.
Who's that?
He is one of the biggest jewelers in the world. He does a lot of jewelry for hip hop artists. I don't actually know if Jacob the jeweler still does what he does, but that's what he's famous for. There's other people who do that, but Jacob the jeweler, he's gotten call outs a lot.
Yeah, he's the
he's very, very well known.
The guy.
I'm gonna guess.
I always learn something unrelated.
Yeah. 100%.
To anything on this show. I mean, just like these nuggets of knowledge. I can now go out into the world and confidently tell someone who Jacob the jeweler is.
Yeah, that's why I'm so good at coming up with these things. I know a ton of information. That's why I can create better stories than other people. I'm gonna say Bling Empire though is about a young woman who is trying to make her way in the man's world of diamond selling, I guess. I don't know what you diamond
gem selling,
gem storefronts, whatever, like in New York you get those storefronts, you walk by and it's like gold and jewels and whatever, and they all look exactly the same, but they're like not franchises, like that's that thing.
Yeah, they're individual little
like that. She's gonna do one of those, but she's like, no, I'm gonna take it, like, let me go next level. And then she's gonna run into, I'm gonna say that she's gonna run into not a glass ceiling. I'm gonna say she's gonna run into the mob somewhere. The mob is out there saying, no, like, we're getting out, like we're going in, like, we're taking on De Beers, we're taking on, all these people over in Africa that's doing all the blood diamonds and all the, whatever, like all those things. They said, no, we're going to take it over. So this lady, she's got to compete with them in order to get these diamonds. That's what I think is happening in this show.
Okay.
Tell me how right I am.
Like always, you get weirdly close when I don't think you will, and then go in a different direction. I actually, I have to say, I'm on board with your version.
Yeah, 100%.
Movie. I think it's a great idea. I don't like the mob take, but originally I think it would have been there. There are many ways you could have taken it. That just seems played out. I mean, predictable. Bling Empire is a reality TV show about real life Crazy Rich Asians.
Okay.
So
I don't like it. I don't like
it's
it.
a bunch of
They've wasted that title.
they wasted that title. So there's a small amount of like very affluent Asians that live in LA, and so it's about following their life. It's kind of like the Shaws of Sunset for Asian, with a bunch of Asian people. I am very interested in watching this. I love every reality TV show about rich people that has ever existed.
But they ruined the name though. Like they ruined the name.
title.
Bling Empire? Are these people running some sort of jewelry empire, or they're just rich people
I don't
and they
know.
call it the Bling Empire? I don't understand. Do they have jobs? I mean, I know somebody has a job. Well, obviously one of these people made the money somewhere. Yeah, but they didn't tell
there
you.
Might
I mean,
be,
you looked at it. You didn't discuss
I looked at it.
Like what they do.
They were buying stuff, and some of it was like talking about how they both own the same like jewelry. Excuse me. And so I don't know. Maybe one of them does have like that's how most of them might have their money. I don't know, but I think they could have come up with a better name.
The name, if they are not jewelers, if there's not somebody in here, like if a substantial portion of this is not based around somebody hawking jewels to other rich people, I guess, then they have completely ruined this name. Like that's an awesome name. Like Bling Empire is an awesome name to give to something, and then you're just going to waste it on rich people in LA who are just buying jewels or whatever. Like unless you're saying like I'm going to buy enough jewels to create an empire, which I'm not really sure how that works, but like in theory, I guess you could do that. Like if you just bought all the jewels in the world, then you would just own all the jewels, and then you would have a literal Bling empire of some sort, I guess, but then you'd still have to sell them in order to really make it an empire. Like you would have to sell them out or whatever, but like that's fine. I'm just saying like Bling Empire should absolutely be about a jeweler. That has to be about a jeweler. Like that's an awesome name, and it tells you like exactly what you want to know, but it has to be about a jeweler. Otherwise, they are doing this completely wrong. I don't like it. I don't care for it. Are these people interesting at all? I guess, I mean, I guess I can look this up. Do they seem interesting? Like what's the hook? Are they just...
The hook is that there's one main character, Christine, I think is her name, and she's been kind of running LA, like she's the girl. And then this other lady who's had a lot of plastic surgery, she comes back into town and she's even wealthier, and she undermines her status. I don't think it looks that much different than if you're gonna watch like Shaws of Sunset or the Kardashians. They probably, it looks about the same.
I mean, I don't know. This is like I'm looking at the it just says follow these wealthy people as they go out with fabulous parties, glamour, and drama. Like, am I the only person who is looking at this and saying, like, I'm genuinely upset. I'm legitimately upset that Netflix allowed their creative department, quote unquote, to use Bling Empire on this show that is ostensibly not about Bling or an empire. Like, and definitely not about the compound noun of those two things. Like, putting those two words together, implies...
I feel like it... Sorry, continue.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it would have worked if it was around like one crazy wealthy family, and that their entire status was about being jewelers. Like then you could have Bling Empire, and that's
Yes,
the center of the
that's my
story, and
point.
you like
If
about them
this is
going
not
out.
about
I
a
agree.
jeweler,
I didn't know I was going to be upset about this until you started talking, and now I don't. And now I wish I didn't know what you told me.
I'm genuinely upset about this. I hate this show. It seems like it might be an interesting show. I've never seen the Shaws of Sunset. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure I've ever seen the Kardashians. I mean, I know what they are. I'm not sure if I've ever actually seen an episode of it, but I understand they're like rich and they do rich stuff, I guess. And you follow them and all this, and that's all fine. But like, so you're saying one of them is called Shaws of Sunset, and that just follows
which is a
people.
bunch of Persian, very
and I assume that's
Persians.
Sunset Boulevard in LA.
LA, and they more so than the Kardashians. It's literally about them like going out having brunch, and they go to these really lavish parties.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them.
Okay, which is
whatever,
fine. Which is fine, but that's called Shaws of Sunset. So like what you're getting. Yes. So they're rich people who live on, or at least hang out on, Sunset Boulevard. Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Keeping up with the Kardashians
literally gets very niche down.
Right, but it's it's keeping up with the Kardashians. It's like keeping up with the Joneses, right? Like that's what it's playing off of, because they're rich and you got to keep up with them, but also you have to keep up with them like to follow their story, right? So it's a bit of a double entendre there of a bit of a play on words. But what you're doing is you're keeping up with them. Whatever, they don't call it the Kardashian Empire, right? Which is what they built. They actually built an empire, but they don't call it the Kardashian Empire or the well, I mean, you can't call it the Shah Empire because that would be about Shahs in the Middle East. So like that's not like you don't call it that. But like they don't call it the Shah Empire or whatever these Shahs' names are. I'm assuming they're not. I
mean, it's like literally separate. They're not related. It's just a friend group. So it's not anyone's singular empire, right?
Well, right, but I'm saying like even if you called it Shah's Empire, like that's fine because it's about the Shahs, right? Or whatever. And again, I'm assuming if you're telling me that they're Persian, I'm assuming that means that these are Shahs. That's a title and not their last name, is my guess. It's a Middle Eastern title. So I'm guessing they're the Shahs of Sunset, as though basically they're Middle Eastern people who are rich, which is more or less what a Shah is. They're just, these ones happen to be in LA, which is fine. But even if you call it Shah's Empire, it would just be because they are Shahs and they have an empire. Like that's what it's about. But it doesn't tell you. So if somebody said Shah's Empire, if it was SHAW, then I would say, okay, that's about somebody named Shah, right? But if it's SHAH, then I would say, okay, well, it's about some sort of Middle Eastern royalty, quote unquote, or whatever. I don't know exactly where the Shah is in the hierarchy, but about that.
Yeah.
And it's their empire, but I'm going to assume that they did something else. This is Bling Empire. Like Bling implies that the empire is based on Bling. It's not Bling's empire, in which case their last name would be Bling, right? So I'm genuinely upset that they have wasted, because that's an awesome name for like a reality show, right? I mean, think about it, like The Bachelor. Right? Like that's an awesome name. That's an awesome name. But what if The Bachelor was just about some dude who was like he was just his days at work, And you'd be like, well, why is it called The Bachelor though? Like we're just following him at work. Like this is ostensibly a show about him like trying to be the CEO of this company. It has nothing to do with him being a bachelor. That's basically what Bling Empire is. Like it has nothing to do with Bling. Other than they buy Bling. But that's not like you can't say like empire based on what you buy. That's not how empires work. It's based on what you own, right? It's not what you acquire. It's about what you use to acquire it. That's what it is. Like somebody who's a media mogul, they have a media empire. It doesn't mean that they bought the media. It means that they created media, which became an avenue for them and a vehicle for them to then purchase things that are not related to the media. That's what it is. So I'm genuinely upset. This seems like it might be an interesting premise, but I can't give this show a thumbs up. This is a thumbs down from me because they have ruined. There's two. They have ruined the name of this show. They have absolutely butchered an unbelievable title. Like you said, Bling Empire, I was like, boom, sign me up. Let's go to Africa. Let's check out these diamond mines. Let me know what's going on. Let's go. Let's show me how you're getting rich people set in stones and all of those things. Like, let's figure it out. But they're like, no, this is just about the people who go into jewelry stores sometimes. That's what ostensibly the show is about.
Yeah.
It's about people who occasionally venture into a store in which some of the wares for sale happen to be jewels. Like, that's what this show is about. It's a terrible name. I don't like it. What's your take on it? You still seem to be pumped about it. Like, you're still going to watch it. It seems
I'm definitely
like
still gonna watch it. I'm definitely the target audience, and I have no problem admitting that.
What is that target audience? Like, what do you think the demographic is?
Probably a lot of women in their 20s and 30s.
Okay. And what's appealing about it to you? Like, genuinely, I don't know. Like, what's appealing about a show like this to you?
I think it's just a world I have no idea about, and I guess I've seen similar shows. For me, it was fun to watch Shaws of Sunset because the culture was similar to like part of a culture I'm familiar with. So it was interesting to see like when that's like really wealthy. So, and then see that done in a way that I had, for me, there was like some things I could connect with, how the extended family worked. That's why I liked it. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe I enjoyed seeing Crazy Rich Asians. That was brought up in one of the trailers, how everyone just thought it was a very fictional world, and it's not. I guess I didn't think it was necessarily fictional. I've heard that there are a bunch of Crazy Rich Asians. So like I guess I just think it's fascinating that someone has enough money to just spend all of their time going to parties and.
Okay, but I mean, I get that, but I'm saying like, what's the appeal of the show? Like, do you just like to see glitz and glam? Is it like when you watch a movie and like when you're younger, you watch movies about people in like their 20s or whatever, and like they just go to parties and you're like, oh, like because you like sort of see yourself at that party and you're like, that's basically what my life is, except not on film, right? Like in your head, you're like that, or that's how I want my life to be, or whatever. Is that the draw for you? Like, is that what you think that they're tapping into? Or like, what is
usually like extreme drama that's like injected into reality TV shows, and I really enjoy watching
like
other
people yell
go through like dramatic events, and then it's like everything.
But is it
fun
because
when they are doing like more like lavish things, like. I don't want to see someone just go to hang out at someone's basement because I can do that. I have enough money to hang out in someone's basement. I do not have enough money to rent out an entire rent out like 15 stores to go private shopping. Like I'm never going to know what that's like, unless I watch the show.
Right, but I'm saying, so you like to watch other people yell at each other, but is it basically because it makes you feel better that if you were rich, like it basically you're like because you see rich people, and this is a question, I don't know, but like so you see rich people and they're like over here, right? Like they're in their own world, to your point. They do things that are glamorous and you don't know, but then it makes you feel better because you're like, oh, actually they have the same problems as me, so maybe it wouldn't be that great. Like it's sort of like a way to tell yourself like maybe it wouldn't be that great to be rich. Is that the draw? I'm not saying that's wrong. I genuinely don't know like what the draw is.
I guess I've never really thought of it like that. Same if like I think maybe there's probably some people who watch it and they're like, if I was rich, I wouldn't act like that. So it's like, you get to.
Do you think that when you watch it? Do you think?
No, I don't think that. I think.
So you think you would be yelling at people about dumb stuff if you were?
I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I'm not saying
like let's say it right now. Like let's say like right now, let's decide if somebody just gave you $1 billion, do you think that you would yell at people for basically no reason about really dumb things?
I don't think
okay, so you think you would be a better rich person than these people? You think that you'd be you'd handle your money better? Okay.
No, I just like I'm not saying I
Is this the
would
type
handle
of
my money
drama that you
better.
want? Somebody interrupting you and doing things like that? Is that what I'm trying to give you the reality show
You're trying
experience
to give
currently.
me
That's what I'm trying to
the
do.
experience of being on a reality TV
That's
show.
correct.
I'd
That's correct.
probably get annoyed, but I mean, I have no problem getting annoyed at people now. I don't know if I'm ever someone who's like walking up to a stranger. I'm probably never going to yell at a stranger,
I
but
don't think they
I
yell at
mean,
strangers on this show, do they? That would be a bad look for them. It'd be a really bad look to
probably
just, if they
would.
were just walking around and basically like taking out wads of cash and just throwing it in people's faces and telling them like, you're a terrible garbage being, that would be a bad look. My guess is they probably don't want to be portrayed. So my guess is they probably only yell at random strangers off camera. That's my guess.
So what I was going to say is when
Uh,
I was younger, when I had more time and I was
mhm.
constantly going out and drinking,
Yeah.
I didn't need millions of dollars to make a scene at a bar. Like I did that without that. So I cannot say that I wouldn't do that.
Okay, but
Uh
you're not saying one way or the other. You're not being definitive
I
in
don't
that.
know. I
Do
don't
you
know. I
think do you think that you would be a classier rich person than these people? Like, do you think you would be a better rich person than these people? Or do you
I
think that
think
you would just
I
have petty
probably
drama all the time?
I think I probably wouldn't have I think I am more boring than they are. I don't like to go out in public very much. So yeah, I think I'd probably be a little classier because
So you
I
wouldn't have petty drama. You would have no more petty drama if you got
I'd
rich.
probably have petty drama, but I wouldn't probably be as I don't know, they have a TV show. They have to be dramatic. I wouldn't be at that level.
What
I
are
just
you
don't
are you
have
saying
that.
that without this TV show they wouldn't be dramatic? They would 100%. This is the same thing.
No, they would be. That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
some of it's
saying.
produced, obviously, and they reshoot some stuff and all of those things. But I'm saying these people are petty, right? They're petty. Like they're rich people, they're petty, they like the drama, all of those things. You're saying that you're poor and you like that stuff, like even in your own life.
Yeah. No, I don't like it in my own life. I
Well, but
like
no, but you
watching
said that
other
you make a
people do
scene,
it.
like you go out, you make a scene, you do some stuff like
No,
that,
I
whatever.
don't anymore. I said when I was younger and I went out and I was drinking more.
So
So
now
I don't know. I
too
don't engage in
mature.
that.
You're too mature for it.
No,
Then.
I'm not saying that. That's just I don't have enough
I
money to
can't
go out.
like you're not you're just kind of talking around it. I just want to know like one way or the other. Like so you think you would be you'd be a classier rich person. If somebody just gave you $1 billion, you'd be a classier rich person.
Probably.
I 100% would not. If I had that much money, I would throw dollar bills in people's faces constantly. Like I would just, and not even figuratively. I don't mean like I would walk around and be like,
Like
I'm
you
rich,
would
so
literally
you
just
just,
go
I would
around
throw money directly in their, no, not make it rain. I would throw it directly in their face.
like
it would
more
be,
like that.
yeah, it would be a painful experience for them. And then I
Would it
would
be
walk away smiling because I knew that they wouldn't say anything because they were so poor that they were going to pick up the cash that I just disrespected them with. That's what I would do if I was a rich person. If somebody gave me $1 billion, I would do a John Rockefeller. John Rockefeller was known for this. It's another thing that you're going to learn today. John Rockefeller, his whole life, he was, for all the bad stuff, whatever. This was just, like, I'm not like, whatever. This is just a thing that he did. This is an actual factual thing that he did. When he was making all this money, he would when children in the neighborhood and stuff like that, he would give them dollar bills. And yeah, I mean, you have to remember this back in at the turn of the century. So like 1900, it was like 18. I think he started in like 1887 or something like that, and then went through like the 1920s basically. He was. So at the time, $1 was a lot, and he would give it to kids. Like he would just hand out dollar bills to these kids. And then when he got old, he gave away a lot of his money, like to his children and all these things, whatever. So he retired down to Florida, and he only had, it was like $10 million or something like that, which was a gargantuan amount of money back then. But it was so much less than he had, right? Because he started the family foundation. He gave a lot away to his family members. He gave a lot away to charity, all this stuff, whatever. And again, if you want to think he's a bad person, like that's fine. I'm not judging him as a person. I'm just saying this is something that happened. So he would give away these dollar bills when he was working. And then he retired and he went down to Florida and he gave away a lot of this money. And so he said, like, I'm going to keep 10 million or whatever to, to feel good about it. And so he was living with his wife, but because he felt poor at the time, he still wanted to give money away to the kids, but he didn't have as much money. And he was constantly worried about running out of money. So instead of giving dollar bills, when he only had 10 million, he started giving away nickels and dimes to kids. So he still did the same thing. It's just like this old guy who just walk in the neighborhood kids. He'd hand them money like every time he saw them, but he would do that. I would do a John Rockefeller, but I would be incredibly disrespectful about it. Like I would just take incredible amounts of money and I would just throw it, just chuck it directly in people's faces. Like,
so you're
the
taking
bellhop
the
at the hotel
of yelling at strangers.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Why not?
People
you have money. Think about it. You have money. You don't get in trouble. If you have money, you just don't get in trouble.
You've spent a lot of time. Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever thought about this.
Do whatever you want.
That's what I'm saying. You could do anything you want. If I had a ton of money, like the bellhop at the hotel, right, that I'm going to stay in, right? I'm going to go stay at the I don't know, the W or whatever, like the nice ones, like the really fancy ones, like, or the ones like you don't even know their names because they're only for like celebrities, you know what I mean? Like the ones that like they keep it off the radar for a reason. I go to one of those, everybody else they're like, oh, like we care about PR, all these things, like we have a career. And I'm like, no, I have $1 billion, right? Like I've already made my money or I've just been handed it, whatever. I don't care about that. The bellhop would be like, do you want help with your bags? And I would take a wad of cash and I would throw it as hard as I could and try and hit them directly in the face. And I would say, I expect nothing less. And then I would just walk away, literally cackling to myself, audibly cackling, because I know that bellhop is going to pick up the dollars that I just threw at him. I know for a fact he's going, because he's poor, because he's a bellhop, Like that's what I would do. I think if you don't do that as a rich person, that you are wasting the wealth that you have, much like Netflix wasted the title of this show. That's what I think. That's why, look, this is why I'm trying to nail you down. Like you seem to think.
I definitely.
Like I just wanted to know your answer.
Cash at money. I don't think I could do that. I don't think that having money would change that about me. I think
that is completely ignorant. I think you would completely change in every way. I think that you would be a horrible rich person. I think your personality would turn sour like
immediately.
Yeah, like week old milk instantly. You would just have an air about you that was basically unbearable to living creatures. That's what I think would happen. That's why I wanted to know the answer to your question. You were, you're dancing around it. I'm here to admit what I would be. I know what I am. This show sucks. I'm 2 thumbs down. They wasted a great title on a possibly decent show, wasted a title. Cannot give any credence to this. What's your take on it? What's your rating on this show?
Probably just neutral.
You're neutral.
No thumbs.
That's surprising to me. That's surprising. I'll be honest. It's surprising to me.
Because now
I would have thought at least one
brought
thumb
to my
up.
attention the naming issue, so that lost 1 thumb. I also kind of don't. I feel like the idea is just played out in a lot of ways. Like they have several shows that do this already.
Mm-hmm.
But
the Kardashians is ending though, or maybe it already ended.
Kardashians is ending. I don't think Shaw's of Sunset. There's
people...
probably other shows. So I guess I've never.
Is the Shaw's of Sunset still on? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't watched it for years.
You're just saying it's
know.
A retread. It's a retread. You're not about it. You want something new. Would you watch a show?
That new,
would you watch a show about rich people who were legitimately terrible human beings? Because none of these people, like all these people that like all this stuff, this is all petty. I'm talking about like legitimately terrible people. Do you think that would be the highest rated show in American history?
Yes.
Like to just, if somebody walked around and literally threw cash in somebody's face?
Yes.
I genuinely think that would be the highest rated show in American history. And honestly, I think a lot of people, number one, would hate watch it, but not because they hate the people, but because they know that's exactly what they would do. And number two, I think people actually, you could make a ton of money from that show if you were on the show, Like, I think the production company and all that can make money too. But like, if you were the person,
Yeah.
I think people would buy your products immediately. You know, like that Bethany Frankel lady who sells all the skinny margaritas or whatever she sells, like
Mhm.
that type of stuff. But from somebody who you like ostensibly should loathe, but actually kind of respect because they're just like, screw it, I'm rich, I'm going to do whatever I want. I think that person would sell a lot of merch. Honestly, I genuinely believe that. I think that show would be a hit. I think you would have a billion followers. I think everybody around the world would love to watch it. I think they should do it. So you're neutral. I'm 2 thumbs down. That's Bling Empire. This is plotting. If you have ideas for other things that we should watch, other titles, all that stuff, you got comments, questions, whatever, you can email us. What's the email?
The email is info.plotting@gmail.com.
All right, so you can hit us up there. Otherwise, if you're watching, we do appreciate it. We like doing this. We're going to keep doing it, but if you want to share and tell other people, we would appreciate it. Definitely tell about this. I think this was a good episode, honestly. This is one of our better episodes.
Yeah. Some of them are.
Some of them are.
I'm also neutral on some of them.
Yeah, but I mean, this actually, I thought this was a good episode. I enjoyed it. So come back. We got another one coming this week. Or if this is the second one of the week, then we got another one coming next week. Whatever. There will be more at some point. Something's happening. So we will see everybody then.